Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well indeed. I'm kind of chuffed by how well my team, the Edmonton Oilers, played in very difficult circumstances tonight and emerged with a well-deserved 2 points and a 5-3 win over Seattle Kraken, and they had to overcome a few things to get to that final result, and they overcame them with good old-fashioned application, effort, and all those hockey man things, and just that little bit extra skill that the other guys couldn't quite match, and earned those 2 points on full merit.
Yeah. 5-3 game. Chuffed is a British word for happy.
Yes.
and
It's almost pumped up, I think, is my take
all
on
right.
chuffed.
All right. The Chuffmeister. All right. Yeah, that was a there was when the COVID stuff was coming down today, lots of people seemed to be hoping the game would be canceled. I mean, I wanted to see a game tonight, so I had that. But I also thought this was one of those games. I didn't put this on Twitter, so you can't count this as a prediction or anything. But I was thinking this is one of those games where they're losing a lot of players here, and the loss of Puljujärvi seemed particularly onerous to the team because he's been playing so well. But I thought with the guys they were calling up, there was lots of guys with plenty to prove in this game who were going to get some opportunity. And you'll often see teams, facing injuries and adversity come through with a big game. I don't think they could do it repeatedly, but they did it tonight, and Fogel's sure looking good on McDavid's line. Anyway, we'll do our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast because it's a big win. We'll do two good things each. What is your first good thing, Bruce?
Well, I'm going to have to go with the game's first star, Warren Foegele, who, would you look at that? They put him in the top six, and he started to score goals again. And
Yeah.
they paired him up with Connor McDavid, and between the empty netter that put away the win over the Blue Jackets the other night, and then the two goals that he scored against the goalie tonight, it was like a hat trick in under 60 minutes, but not in the same game. Unfortunately, he scored the empty netter in the wrong game. But that aside, he scored two goals tonight, one by going hard and pounding home an opportunity that came on the, it was a power play goal, as I recall, by Foegele, wasn't it?
Yep, it
Yes, it
was.
was. Power play goal.
Rebound.
Yeah, because all of their power play wingers, all of them, were unavailable to play. They were
Yep.
missing all three of Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Puljujärvi that normally fill out the Edmonton power play. So the Oilers were down quite a bit in the skill department tonight, so they needed the grinders to step up, and Warren Foegele was one of those grinders, and he did indeed step up with a great big game. Then, of course, he scored later the game-winning goal with by going first of all winning a battle on the boards and getting the cycle going. In fact, I think he won two battles on the boards in that extended sequence, and then he went to the net front and put himself in uh, in the in the maw of the beast, so to speak, right on the edge of the crease, and he predictably somewhat absorbed a cross check from our old friend Mark Giordano, uh, who knocked Foegele, puck and all, into Chris Driedger and ultimately into the Seattle net. And the refs originally ruled no goal for goalie interference, but Edmonton's coaching staff correctly called for a challenge, and they were proven out to be correct, and the refs in the end did make the right call for the goal, and that was the difference. As soon as Edmonton got their nose in front in the third, man, did they shut her down after that. So credit to all of them. But Warren Foegele, he had 5 shots on net in this game, and I just thought he was a strong performer in really all aspects of the game. Like I liked his play in the defensive zone as well.
his power play goal was very nice.
Mm.
McDavid goes cross ice to Draisaitl, who puts it back to Yamo, who just hammers a shot on net, and the rebound right
Go
to
figure.
Fogel, who puts it in, no mistake. It's interesting. Yamamoto also looked really good tonight,
He did.
and it's no coincidence that they get on the power play. They get a couple points each on that goal, and I just there's a better feeling around these players, and I wonder how much if Yamamoto was a regular power player, I wonder what his
Yeah.
reputation would be in Edmonton right now, and how many points he might have. That's a quite a for a player like him. The power play is an obvious thing, just not on the Oilers, right? Because they have so many great attackers. So but on, you could see if he went to another team, suddenly he becomes, you could see him becoming close to maybe even a point a game player. If he got regular power play time, because he does have high skill and he really digs in and wins the puck on the power play. Alrighty. My good thing, I'll start with Darnell Nurse. Bruce, he just had a really solid game. He stepped up. It wasn't mistake free, but he pretty much kept a clean sheet. He didn't make many mistakes out there, and he carried the puck all night. He was out for the final 3 minutes and 51 seconds of the game.
Wow.
It's like he was playing beer league, where you just sometimes you have three defensemen and you play a lot
Mm-hmm.
of hockey. So Darnell was really carrying the mail out there. He just had a great game, and um, uh, I don't know if he was a star in the game. He should have been, but he was fantastic.
So the three stars of this game: Warren Fogle, Ryan Donato, and Jordan Eberle.
Mm.
This in a game where Edmonton outshot Seattle 41-17, and yet somehow two Seattle forwards are among the three stars. So
And
uh,
12,
put whatever stock you might in that. And Donato and Eberle were okay, but
yeah, they sure were.
come on, two Seattle stars in that game.
12-8 for grade A shots, Bruce, for the game, according to our account, 12-8.
Yeah.
So
So closer than
little,
41-17, but
yeah, but still a big advantage for the Oilers.
yeah.
What's your second good thing?
Yeah, I'm going to. I really liked all of the guys that held up the bottom end of the roster tonight. They did a good job, but I will focus specifically on the fairly regular line of Derek Ryan between Tyler Benson and Colton Sevier. And I just like the job that all three of those guys did. They were moving the puck in the right direction. They were, making smart plays. They were making tough plays. They were taking hits. They were dishing out hits, and just cycling, grinding, and creating some chances. And wouldn't you know, Colton Sevier actually scored a goal on such a play, although he wasn't with those two particular line mates at that moment. But he did it the way basically he and they played the whole game, which was uh, um, some good honest grinding on the cycle, and then going to the net. And he was rewarded with a friendly bounce and was able to tuck it home. And well earned goal, and that play, that you can say the whole line was rewarded, even though only the one guy got the scoring point on it. I just thought they were strong all game. They had very, for a third line playing in a short bench situation, you have shots on net 10-2 when Sevier's on the ice, and where are we now with Tyler Benson 9-4, and with Derek Ryan 9-4. I mean, they had a strong possession throughout, and Edmonton seemed to be just as solid when their third line was out there as when either of the top two lines were out there. It was a real good team effort, and I'm very encouraged in general by what we've seen out of the bottom six these last 2 or 3 games, and it's been a real turnaround, and one that's been sorely needed. I mean, many, many words were written and tweeted and spoken in anger about how poorly Edmonton's bottom six had answered the challenge this year, and they were indeed getting badly outscored. But now they've put it together a little bit, and uh, that trio tonight I thought was representative, and so shout outs to all of them.
Benson took some hits. He also threw some good hits and
He's a
was
bit
very
nasty, eh?
he's got to be right because
Yeah.
he's doing it.
hmm
He's starting
Every
to put
game.
together what looks like a little bit of an NHL game here, and keep it going and keep your eyes, Tyler Benson, on Colton Sevier. He's your role model. He's the guy. If you're going to be an NHL player, I think that's who you're going to be. And Colton Seaver, you've heard of Mini Mart. Well, he's Mini Matt, the Mini Matt Hendricks. That's who he's starting to. I was bemoaning the other day that they don't have a Matt Hendricks on the team.
hmm
They know that. He is that guy. He's the veteran leader. He's just not as big as Hendricks, but he's just first, he is a very smart defensive hockey player. He is a very, very good defensive hockey player. Alex Chason, similarly, was a really good defensive hockey player, and so was Hendricks. They are very diligent. They read the plays well. They work really hard. All three of those guys on defense. So I'm sold on Colton Sevier. He is. They could use another two just like him, and he doesn't. I'm not going to say he plays mistake-free hockey, but it's close to that. Like he really plays a smart and safe hockey game out there.
Plays an honest game, doesn't he? And he took a few for the team in the early going when he actually got absolutely steamrolled from behind by Jeremy Lauzon, what, 2 or 3 minutes into the first period? And
Yeah.
2:26 into the first period, and Lauzon came from behind. You could see his numbers the whole way in, and he just followed right through and powered Sevier basically face first into the boards. I think he was able to get his hand up and protect himself. But David, I don't know if that's not boarding. Why do they even have the rule in the books? I mean, if that's not a penalty, why do they even have referees on the ice? I mean, it was so friggin' blatant that I was enraged at that moment because that's a dangerous play. Guys get hurt on plays like that. And
Louis,
anyways,
yeah.
he
Louis
he got
DeBrusque was enraged, and Louis
he
doesn't
got
get enraged very much.
and he got up and he decided he wanted to fight Lauzon and fight his own battle. And for that privilege, he took a couple of more solid punches from a bigger, stronger guy. So he took a few in a row. So he wound up sitting in the box for 5 minutes, nursing his bruises. And he came out after that and he played 15 minutes and 2 seconds in this game. 5 shots on net, a goal, 5 penalty minutes, 2 hits, and even 2-0 on the face-off dot where he had to go in after the center got kicked out. So a little bit of everything, including a minute 25 on the penalty kill. So he played it, even on Edmonton's. I guess it was just one penalty that they had to kill in this game, um, and he played his. He's been a regular on that unit for some time now. So he, in particular, of the three I named, very, very good game. Like I don't know
Yeah,
what more you could ask from that guy.
that call against him was so
Oh,
egregious. It was so terrible that I wondered if, like, so when Fogel scored the goal, again, that's an obvious goal. I mean,
yeah.
he was cross-checked in, it went off his body. That is a goal.
hmm
But it was the earlier call was so terrible that I was wondering, are they going to get something up here? Like, are they going to get screwed again? Because that's what happened on the first call, where Sevier was obviously boarded from behind and obviously should have been a penalty. So I was just wondering, like, man, is this going
Oh,
to happen? Is this really going to happen? But it didn't, fortunately. So
on
there
on
goes
the
my
game
conspiracy theory.
on the game winner, I mean, you can at least see how the ref can make that mistake. He saw the
Yeah,
contact between Fogel and the goalie, which was real and fairly spectacular, and he missed how he got in there.
yeah.
And Fogel got up right away, just shaking his head, saying, "Hey, what am I supposed to do, man?" And took him a little bit to figure it out. I'll give Louis DeBrusque credit for right away. He was all over that one. The scrum was still going on, and he's saying, "I think that's going to be a goal," because he got pushed in by Giordano, and indeed that proved out to be the case, and they were able to correct that. How both referees failed to see a guy get run right between the numbers when he's holding the puck along the boards. He's not turning away from the hit. He's established position. The guy just zones in on him from 30 feet out and drills him in the back. How they missed that, that is just, to me, that is just not acceptable.
And I
They got
was
to
it
call. They got to
reviewed?
call. I don't care if it's no. Well, they said I don't know what they. If they review it, I think they can only call a 5 minute major. But I thought it was only high sticks, and Anyway, it's major penalties that they can correct
I
for, and
see.
they deemed it wasn't a major. Well, I don't know, man. That's to me, it was pretty close to textbook boarding major.
It
Like it
was
was
as bad as
so
McDavid's hit.
obvious.
It was as bad as McDavid's hit,
It
as
was
Louis said on
worse.
the broadcast. Yeah, it might have been worse. The
I mean,
result,
McDavid happened. If McDavid hit the guy in his head at the stanchion and he bled,
yeah,
so that was the mitigating circumstance. But he didn't run the guy to the degree that Lausanne run Sevier tonight. So
yeah. Bruce, my second good thing is Seth Griffith.
mhm.
Griffith, one of the players called up from the AHL.
Yeah.
Seth has been a prolific AHL scorer for a long time. He's a fantastic AHL hockey player. Very good with the puck. Can move the puck, pass the puck. Great power player. Um, Tonight he came in. He didn't play much. 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
Wow.
Nine shifts. So hardly at all. But
Good.
man, he made a great play on Sevier's goal. I think he won, if I'm not mistaken, like one battle, then another one, and a key one to get the puck to McDavid. With his hustle, and he's not known for his physical play, but he did what it took in that game to make a physical play, a difficult physical play, and it led to a big goal. So I'm gonna excuse me, go with Sevier. Um,
With
and
Griffith, you mean?
Excuse me, Seth Griffith. Yeah,
Mhm.
Griffith. Go with Seth Griffith because that was just a fantastic play at a key moment from an unheralded guy getting a chance. And great to see. And, you know, you can make those kind of plays. Maybe you can play on the third or fourth line. Like if you're willing to, it's like Benson, he's a big scorer in the AHL. Now he's getting physical. Seth Griffith has the skill, I think, to be an NHL player. If he's willing to get uh, forechecking and use the body, you never know
Mhm.
what can happen to a player at that stage of his career. I think he's 28 or 29. Maybe he's ready just to play that game. I mean, I think that's a long shot that he's going to stick, but that was a huge moment and a big win for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, originally they credited him with an assist on that goal, and then they took it away, and it's kind
That's
of
me.
unfortunate. You like to see
Yeah,
the guy get rewarded, but I thought he actually did earn the assist. I thought the puck got his skate. He went in hard, and he nailed the guy right behind the net that was trying to move the puck out to the left side, and puck never went anywhere. It just kind of stayed there, and McDavid pounced on it and took it out in front. And then uh, Seager was able to he went to the front of the net and he was able to find that puck in the blue paint and just stuff it in. Very hard workmanlike goal, and I'll give McDavid a lot of credit on that play too. He grounded out. That wasn't one of these pretty little dipsy doodle dangles. That was him playing with a couple of grinding line mates and the three of them connecting to grind his puck right into the net.
McDavid had a really good game as
He
well.
did.
He really was working hard. Um, Bruce, what is your bad thing?
Yeah, I'm happy. I've already had my rant at the referees on that early missed call, which ultimately didn't cost them much. My bad things, and there's about 90 of them that have all happened to the Edmonton Oilers in the last week. Holy moly, every day, bad news, bad news, bad news here, there, everywhere. We've had now 6 different announcements, including one this afternoon of players being sidelined by COVID and sort of important, very important players. They lost 3 in the last 2 days: Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Duncan Keith, and Jessup Puljujärvi. That is a lot of minutes out of the game. Those 3 guys are going to play close to 60 minutes among the 3 of them, and they they're going without the coach. They had bad luck with injury to sort of
Hyman.
simultaneous injury. Well, Hyman got hurt first, and Niemelainen got hurt. Then when they were down to the bare bones minimum roster for today's game, it turns out that Kyle Turris is hurt, blocking a shot of all things, and he can't go.
I
And
didn't. I didn't even know that one.
whatever your opinion is of Kyle Turris, it's got to suck when you're a skilled forward that's been stuck behind a whole bunch of other skilled forwards, and now all those guys are out, and you're finally going to get your chance, and you
Can't
got a
go.
broken finger or whatever it is that that's a pretty tough break for him, and and he would have just been another worker bee tonight. So the Oilers literally played this game shorthanded with a less than maximum roster, and uh, they had all that going on. I mean, poor Jesse Puljujarvi. Guy goes down to Seattle. Now he's got a positive test. Now what does he do? Right? He's not allowed to fly home with the team because he tested positive. And I'm hoping there's a way they can, send down a private plane or something to, get him back to Edmonton in time for Christmas. I mean, what's he going to do? Quarantine in a hotel room down in Seattle for 10 days? I guess there's worse places to be, but no thanks, especially this time of year. And I can understand why players in general would be pretty terrified of crossing the border right about now. Just that eventuality, and especially they said something like this on the broadcast is 100% true. Those with families and kids and so on at home, a quarantine on the wrong side of a border this time of year would not be a good thing. Anyway, the Oilers had to overcome all that. Then they had to overcome sort of the bad calls early in this game. Lagesson, uh, he just got hauled down in the first minute of the game. Somehow they missed that. Anyway, they got a junky goal on Skinner early, and then there was a breakdown. It was 2-0 down. You think, well, geez, they're actually playing pretty well. I was thinking, and I'm thinking, if they're 2-0 down after playing well, I wonder if they're, if they're going to break. And they did anything but. They just upped the ante, and they kept bringing it. They got 20 shots on net in the first period, and they were able to, this is important for the Oilers, tie the score before the end of the first period. They're 0-10 when they trail after one. Well, they were trailing 2-0 halfway through one, but they clawed those two goals back, and they were, essentially the dominant team. 12-3 shots on net in the third period when the score was tied going in. And even when they got the lead, they kept on giving up not much and forcing the action and getting shots at the good end of the ice. So uh, the bad thing is the adversity, and the really good thing is the way the team responded to it. I'm more encouraged, even though it's an expansion team they beat. I think I'm more encouraged by this win tonight than anyone to this point in the season.
Yeah, Bruce. I think personally one of the bad things is the NHL's COVID rules at this point, and I think, and I'm not saying that there's not a strong argument that they're reasonable, and that's not a reasonable position to hold to think that this is the right thing they're doing, but the general public no longer gets tested. Every, well, you have to be symptomatic to get tested, and I think that should be the standard in the NHL. These we got vaccinated for a reason. These players are all double vaccinated. They are in great physical health. COVID presents not a great risk for them. I mean, it did before the players were vaccinated. We have many examples now. Alex Stalock, Josh Archibald, Marco Rossi, of players who had fairly serious issues with COVID before vaccination. But if these players are mostly asymptomatic, you can't even tell. They can't even tell they're sick or they're mildly sick. I'm not sure why they're staying out of games anymore. And I think they should just have this personally. I think they should have the same standard that they have for the general public. This is a different time of COVID. Now, we'll see if the Omicron is a lot worse than we don't know. Essentially, no one knows what it's going to be with the Omicron. So that could change things dramatically. But let's say that it doesn't. And, I just think it's time to move to a different set of rules for the NHL and for the NFL's talking about it. It's been raised in the NFL. There's NHL players who are complaining about getting tested 3 times a week. It's a grind. The wearing masks all the time. Again, there's got to be a bonus for getting vaccinated and being in peak physical health. And if you really don't present tremendous risk to other people, and I don't think that they do, I prefer to see the rules changed. So, and again, I'm not saying it's reasonable to disagree. I think it's reasonable to disagree with that as well. I can see the argument on the other side, but it's just my position on it. So I'd like to see Jesse Puljujarvi keep playing if he's not that sick.
I read your post. I know the NFL did, in fact, as I understand it, change their approach today that
They did.
They will be testing people that are showing symptoms and calling back on their testing mechanism. And I have my reservations, I have to say, but at the same time, this whole situation is evolving and changing. And as you say, I mean, people that have been vaccinated have a different risk level, and we're getting now, I think, lots of reports that those that test positive, the hockey players, many of them never get sick. And normally you see players, they'll say, oh, so and so is he's got a temperature of 40 degrees and he was in bed all day and he came out and he dressed and played in the game tonight and scored the winning goal. I mean, those kind of things that happen all the time where players have been like super sick
Yes.
and played through it. And this one is like the whole reason for the strenuous testing, and it was vital before there was vaccines in particular, is that to stop the spread. Well, this just in, they're not stopping the spread.
Is
There's
that the
like
truth?
88 NHL players the last time I counted, and 13 coaches off of 17 different teams that have tested positive. So, the bug is getting to them. And reportedly, most of these guys haven't been sick. So I'm not I'm not comfortable with it. And at this point, I don't even know if what they're dealing with currently is Delta or Omicron. Uh, I think they say Delta is still the
I think it's Delta, yeah.
predominant strain in North America, and it's been around for quite a while. So it doesn't quite explain why there's this sudden
Yeah,
outburst now.
I agree. It's
But
weird, eh? It's very
yeah,
strange.
it is very strange. So you have to tread with caution, and that is what the NHL is doing. But
You know,
maybe it's
we'll know a lot more in 2 weeks, put it that way. And we will know in 2 weeks whether the Omicron variant is going to have a huge impact or not in terms of ICU cases, which is
Mhm.
where really the rubber hits the road in our society, where the hospitals are threatened. We will know that within a couple weeks. Fingers crossed that what the early indications out of South Africa are true, but we don't know what's going to happen yet. I don't know, and I'm done making predictions because it's easy to be wrong. So we'll see, and in a couple weeks, maybe the NHL will follow suit with the NFL and change if we don't have a huge and dangerous outbreak of this new variant. But if there's just lots of cases and not a lot of sick people, then sounds like any other cold to me at that point. And if that's what it is, let's get on with life. So anyway, we'll be revisiting this and see what happens next.
yeah. There's
Bye.
lots of teams that are done playing games for a while. There's several teams
Yeah.
that won't play till after Christmas, and I had someone tip me today that they didn't think the Oilers tonight would be their last game in 2021. They wouldn't play again till New Year's. I mean, who knows? But I think who knows might as well be the motto of the NHL at this point because
I think
it's
that's a pretty good.
such a crazy situation and it's
Yeah.
constantly changing. And they're erring on the side of, I guess, caution, but not really enough if they're still going ahead and playing the games and filling the buildings with fans. Like there's a lot of contradictions, and uh, there's I still wish they would do something about the air filtration in the building.
It's a great moment of
That's something.
uncertainty.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, I suspect the Oilers just played their last game for until at least
Wow.
after Christmas. Yeah. Um, my bad thing was Skinner's play on the first goal against. He's obviously, I think he's got to have that shot. It's a bad goal. It's early in the game, and how often do teams come back from that, Bruce? Hardly ever. Like it's really
Yeah.
hard. A bad goal, a deflating goal early in the game. I mean, I've seen worse goals against than that, but it wasn't great. Definitely should have had that shot, and yet Edmonton came back. Um, Fantastic that happened, but wasn't Skinner's best moment, and the great thing was that Bouchard then came back and hammered in a B shot of his own. I mean, it was a hell of a hard slap shot, and there was players in front initially, but the goalie had to have that one as well.
Yeah, sure
So
did.
maybe you trade bad goals, and it suddenly you get some life from Bouchard's goal if you're the Edmonton Oilers. So that might have been the equation, part of the equation in the comeback. You need some breaks in a game, and the Oilers certainly got one when Bouchard put that shot in. Bruce, what's your number?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a number of approximately 70%. And that's the percentage of the play that Edmonton dominated tonight. In all situations, they had a shot attempt 73 to 30 for 70.9%. Shots on goal 41-17 for 70.7%. Scoring chances, this is the natural stat trick version, 32-13, 71.1%. High danger chances, 13-7, 65%. Expected goals, 4.2 to 1.6 was the expected score of this game, 72% based on that. So, I mean, that is complete domination. And the fact, I mean, if they'd had a bigger lead, they probably wouldn't have had to keep the pedal to the metal as much as they did, but they did. And they played 60 hard minutes, and they really controlled the play. 70% is a fantastic number in any of these metrics. And then even at 5-on-5, 70% of shot attempts, 68% of shots, 69% of scoring chances. So it's the same kind of distribution.
And we had it at 12-8 for grade A shots. So again, they're pretty good
It's
ahead there.
closer than any of these, and sometimes there's, I think, more truth in the judge chances, but I put stock in the high danger chances at
Yeah.
Natural Stat Trick, and they had it at 11-6 at 5-on-5 and 13-7 overall, and we had it 12-8. So I mean, obviously we're talking about the same game.
Yeah. The especially impressive was the Oilers in the third period, Bruce. They gave up only one grade A shot, according to our tally, in the third period. Cuckoo got beat on a hard charge to the net. Other than that, the Oilers shut it right down. So that's fantastic hockey, defensive hockey, and something the Oilers haven't done consistently this year. If, come out with better starts and shut it down more in the third period, and this team gets some goaltending, this team's on its way. Bruce, my number is 29-16. That's hits in the game. And I just thought that stat doesn't always tell the story of a game. I thought it did tonight. I thought the Oilers outworked Seattle all night long. They were working real hard, and they were hitting. They were going for hits, and they were throwing hard hits. Nurse had 5 hits. Brendan Perlini 4. Zach Cassian 4. William Lagus 4. Benson, they credited with 2. I think he had more than 2 hits. Yeah, I just think that number shows the total team effort that we saw tonight. It was a great win for the Edmonton Oilers. It was kind of an exciting win. Like you're quite encouraged by it, and I am as well.
I'm pumped.
Because,
I love this game.
Yeah,
for how what they were able to make out of those circumstances. This was big.
That was a game so good that even Alan Walsh is smiling tonight. Dave Tippett wasn't on the bench, and William Lagesson was. And William Lagesson played a good game. He's actually played 2 good games in a row. And yeah, this
is the best he's looked by far in any of his. Was this his 3rd different year he's had a cup of coffee here, and I think this is the best games that he's played.
You just never know with players when they're going to make that breakthrough and if they can maintain it. But he's strung a couple good games together. He did have a good streak last year playing with Larson, and then he got banged up and he started to play more poorly. Alrighty, I think we've run through the gamut of the 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. Bruce, you're doing the game grades tonight, is that correct?
I am.
All right. Well, I'll let you get at it, and we'll see when we talk next about an Oilers hockey game. I think we both do subscribe to the Condors. If they're still playing, if they're still playing through this, maybe we'll start to talk about some Condors games instead. So we'll see about that. Bruce,
they got a Christmas break, I believe, but we will.
Oh, they do.
We'll see what happens, in terms of right across the hockey world in this next while. But whatever games are being played, we'll try and cover them.
Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
All right. And thank you for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast. I hope by the time we come back that I no longer have my cough.